Hi, this is Krista at The Secret Yarnery. Welcome to Crochet Podcast, episode 152. Now it's time for Stack in the Back. I love a good stack. So we are getting second stack over. I think it's just behind this chair right there. Let me go grab that stack. It's a big one. It's a big one, and there is like throwbacks in there like crazy. So let me go grab it. Check out that stack. Oyster shell scarf in pure cotton. No, it doesn't feel like pure cotton. In cotton. Oyster shell scarf in cotton. So the good thing about oyster shell scarf, so I did 100 grams and this is just too long. I should have stopped. See how long this scarf is? Really long. What I wanted a cotton one for is like for a summer dress. So you can like, just cover up your shoulders a little bit. Have a little bit of something. You could wrap it around your shoulders and give it a little knot. It's a cute little something something, but still cotton so it doesn't get too hot. But the problem is I made it too long. Did you see how long it was? It goes down past my dress. It's really long, which is why I haven't worn it. I haven't worn it much. I think I wore it once. I should have just stopped. I should have been like, that's the length I want, instead of being like, keep going and you're not done your yarn. Mental note to self. Twisted it, of course I did. So oyster shell scarf is a written pattern and a tutorial on the channel, left and right-handed. Oh, I gotta put it on the other side. I also made one in rockstar. So this is 50 grams of rockstar. So you can see, that one's a shorty. I haven't worn this because it's just too short. I think it's 50 grams. It's not even finished, but 50 grams of rockstar. Rockstar is a really nice yarn. I did not order any of that. Mental note, backtrack, news of the week, I ordered ice yarns. What? I totally ordered ice yarns. Because of Stack in the Back, the rainbow shawl, want to make it. Even that little capelet from last week, don't have any yarn for it. I only have like Savor and Favorite. I have a lot of those colors. This is my variegated yarn over there. There's nothing I want. There's no wearable stuff in there. There's nothing like, oh, that'd be a great poncho. Like I don't have rainbow. Somebody in the comment said Ice Yarns doesn't have rainbow. So I went to check Ice Yarns to say maybe, she spelled it wrong. Let me check. Nope, they don't have rainbow. So then I shop by category. So I go up to the top of the screen, I click category, and then I go down and to the self-striping, and then you can filter on the other side to change the size of the yarn. But even on the self-striping, you can go through and see what they have in those kinds, and then open those up in new tabs. And I'm like, what? So many great color combinations. Like I could wear that, 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 so many of them. So I ordered ice yarns. Which I guess is good news, right? So I have 45 kilos-ish, 45, 46 kilos of yarn coming in like 2 weeks. Isn't that exciting? I'm so excited. Anyway, back to Stack in the Back. Oh my gosh, this one. This is Atlas Jumbo from Ice Yarns. It's a really thick, it's a 5-weight chunky yarn. I ordered a lot. I was gonna do like a blanket, like a nautical-y kind of blanket. I think I bought white, I bought navy, and I bought this earthy kind of color. But then I was like, wanted to do a Celtic knot kind of crochet stitch. Holy Hannah, this thing's so heavy. So I made a big rectangle in this stitch, like a basket weave kind of stitch. So forward and back, for like 2 forward, like skip 2, go forward, go back, do those last 2, skip 2, go forward, go back, do the last 2, like that. Front post, back post, something like that. All the way along. What a yarn eater. What a yarn eater. That is how thick it is. Can you see that's like an inch thick of yarn? Tell me you can see it. That is 1 layer. That's 1 layer of yarn. So this is the inside of the pattern. That's the outside of the pattern. Do you see how thick that is? You think it's folded in half. It's not. Do you want me to put it on? Oh my gosh, I'm sweating. I'll put it on for you, but I might have that glow when I come back. I'll glisten. Free of charge filtering here at the Secret Yarnery. Let me pop it on for you. Now, I've not finished it. I haven't sewed in my tails. I can frog it back. Like I can take out how I joined it to show you how I join, and then I can do a sample if you want to do a tutorial, like if you want me to do a tutorial for this. But I also think the yarn is it's just so much yarn. Like it's so heavy. I should weigh it. It's so heavy. Okay, hold on. So that is my Celtic knot poncho, and boy oh boy, it's a heavy one. I was thinking I could do it in like maybe a lighter acrylic yarn. Not like a lighter acrylic, a lighter weight yarn. Like instead of a 5, you know what I mean? Or maybe 2 strands. I don't know. It was a lot, it's very thick. It uses a lot of yarn. It's a yarn eater. So that's the other thing. If you want to get like a nice yarn, you're gonna need a lot of it. So let me know what your opinion about that. I think it's cute. It's too hot. That's definitely like 100% winter jacket for me. I've never actually been able to wear it. It has not been cold enough here. Oh, that's a good one. This is my popcorn, my treasure map popcorn granny square blanket in Softly Baby. So they're all granny squares joined together into like a treasure map, like X marks the spot, and then a cute little border on it. It could get washed by the looks of it. So this is all Softly Baby. I'll show you this one. So that is a real cute blanket right there. That one gets used a lot because it's Softly Baby. It's quite soft. That's the one my husband likes, believe it or not. This, okay, I'm gonna do it in order. This is one of my first hug shrugs before, well, this is just it's a hug shrug with just double crochet and a little border on it, that little, you know, those little stacking kind, not stacking shells, what are they? Like little overlapped kind of shells. It's cute, but it's also like plain, and I've never worn it. But what I like about a good hug shrug, which way is it going? There we are, is you can pull it down. So it gives you a nice little hug, and you can kind of open it up and be as cool as you'd like air conditioned as you'd like. So you can like have it a little bit like almost off the shoulders to like, you know, make your summer dress a little more, what do you call it? Modest. Or you can just cowl the whole thing if you're cold. You could pop it over your head. You can do a lot of stuff with them. So it's a very handy pattern. If you are busty, it might not be the pattern for you. From what I've heard, not from personal experience, but from what I've heard, it can accentuate those areas. So some busty people do not want those areas accentuated, so I wouldn't recommend this pattern for you if you don't need any what do you call it? Accentuating of the bust line. Now this is my first one that I loved, and I wore this one like for years. So this one is great. I don't even know what stitch I did. I don't know. I did like a whole, I don't know what I did. I did something. However, this is the first one that I made and I loved, and I think it was even like my first written pattern, like real written pattern. So, how cute is that? So see, just by changing the stitches, like from just double crochet to like this cute little one, and I changed the border on it also to the cute little kind of shell kind of things, just to make it, you know, just cute. And then you can do the same thing with it. Let me show you from behind. So this one is just enough to like dress up a summer dress. So love it a lot. My first successful wearable right here. And this is just regular Kenyan acrylic. It was like 60 cents a ball or something like that. Very inexpensive. So that, I think, was the whole stack in the back. So what was your favorite part of stack in the back? And is there anything there that you'd like a tutorial for? Let me know in the comments. So now I gotta put away this stack. It was pretty good, right? A lot of neutrals. Who would have thought that? It's time for stack in the back. Are you ready for a stack? It's a good one. We only have 2 stacks left. So this week and next week, and then we gotta come up with something new to do. Oh, I'm so excited about it. So let me go grab that stack. Look at this stack. It's a doozy, right? So another oyster shell scarf. I love this color. It's like a mushroom color. It's like mushroom dirt color. Isn't that so pretty? So this is oyster shell scarf. I've made a bunch. You probably see these almost every stack in the back. There's a different color oyster shell scarf, just because these totally are so quick and fun to make. Plus they just dress up a sundress, which I wear quite a bit. So they're just a little something that goes around your neck. And look how they are on your neck. Do you see that? It's so pretty. It's like a little collar. It's like a little Victorian lace collar. So I love these. I make them with 100 grams of yarn. So depending on the yarn, it's double this wide. So they're just perfect. I love them, and I love this color. This is Savor from Ice Yarns. Good old Savor. This is my Coronation. I'm like, what? It could be Sunday Granny. Is it Coronation or Sunday Granny? This is the Coronation scarf. Looks a little like the Sunday Granny, to be honest. But you're right, it's definitely Coronation. So why I call it Coronation is it's like 1 row of heads and then 1 row of crowns. So it's a 2-row repeat. So that's how I remember it. Heads and then crowning them. Heads and then crowning them. Heads and then crowning them. So this is my Coronation stitch scarf. Nice and long. This is probably 200 grams, I'd say. Unless I stopped, I don't know, I have to weigh it. It's either 150 or 200 grams, also of Savor. And I love the stitch. It's really fast to do. It's really easy. And it looks like a fancy crochet stitch. Plus, look at those straight edges. Happens automatic. So I love it. This is a tutorial. The thumbnail is for a blue scarf. It's a blue version that I did for the tutorial. Kim, are you sitting down, Kim? Good. This is Kim's favorite These are Kim's sleeves. Now it's 2 strands of yarn, and I want to say like a moss stitch. It was like single, double, single, double, single, double with 2 strands of yarn and a big hook. You pretty much make like 2 scarves and then stitch them together, and then to make a top. And then I did this amazing border, just kind of fluke of nature. It's one of those things where I didn't do my math right and it turned into these awesome bell sleeves. I love it. So I did the beige and then a creamy kind of neutral kind of color and then gray. So it matches everything. And my whole point for it, let me get it the right way around. This is not a tutorial, I've just done it. I did it a few years ago. Now watch the hairdo. Is because I wanted it just for the top of my body. I didn't want it, you see me? Let me show you how cool this is. I love this one because it's nice and short, but the sleeves are really long, so it's kind of just like a scarf on the top part of your body for cold weather. It's my version of a winter jacket. Now there is a stitch marker at the back. Can you see that? That marks the back. I forget what I did when I was doing the edging on it, but I did something where there's like more space at the front, so that marks the back. And I haven't sewn in my tails. There should be tails somewhere. Did I sew in my tails? Unexpected, I don't think I did. Anyway, this is Kim's favorite thing, and I do have to do a tutorial on it one day. It is really cool. Do you see that border there? I didn't even know what I did. Front post here. I don't know, but it's so fun. It's really hot, I gotta take it off. Ooh, that really does work for a winter jacket, straight up. Plus, if you didn't want to wear it like that, you could just wear it like a big scarf too. Like a big chunky scarf with really nice sleeves on it. See, look at that. Multi-practic. Is that a thing, multi-practic? No. Don't say that. Don't copy my grammar. It'll only embarrass you, I'm sure. So that is my sleeves. Love it. Kim wants a tutorial for that also, so if you do, also let us know in the comments. Oh, and this one, I think this is a Speedy Granny Ruth in neutral colors. Now this was when I was running out of yarn. I really did. It was about, I want it maybe 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I had, all my yarn colors were depleted. I was waiting to order more ice yarns in January. I order about once a year. And I wait for their sale. Did I make my hair gorgeous? Probably. Of course. So I used whatever yarn I had, which I think is totally fine. Anything that went together. So I made some pretty interesting color choices, including this. So neutral in the middle, let me fold it in half. Then you can kind of probably, hopefully, see it a bit better. And I'll hold it this way, okay. So big portion here in tan, then peach, so double, what did I do for this? So 400 grams of tan and 200 grams of peach and 100 grams of blue. Something like that per side or something like that. Then for the border, I used some interesting yarn that I had. It has these little flecks in it. I forget the name of it. Bonbon? I think it's Bonbon. So I just used colors that I had with Bonbon in the middle, and I'm not totally sure. Well, I think the Bonbon might be too bright for the entire blanket. It kind of like, ooh, but it's what I had, and it is a really practical blanket. Let me show you how big it is. way big, right? So this is the Speedy Granny Ruth baby blanket, but made in a larger size and in more grown-up colors, I guess. Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. This is my OG Ruana poncho. Ruana poncho, my big one. I love it, it's huge, it's grown. Let me see if you can see it back there. So this is my Ruana poncho. It is made with some sort of clearance yarn from Ice Yarns. What was it called? Something, wool twister or something like that. So it's an undulating kind of yarn that goes from thick to thin. There's a word for it, I forget what the word is. But I used a 9mm hook. It took no time at all. And this is where I learned where you really do have to make things a lot shorter than you want them to be when they're done. I have snagged this on every kitchen drawer, every knob, because it's so long, it just gets caught on things and you're like full on walking, you're like, you're like, oh right, and I have to unhook it. Not that I mind, but it's really big. So this is the one I take with me to restaurants in the evenings. If anybody's cold, there is enough of this to wrap around about 3 people, at least on your laps. And it's also not too hot because it does have like really big holes in it. But see how that yarn is just different all the way through. I did make one with regular acrylic, but it didn't look as great as with this kind of yarn that goes from thick to thin. So I highly recommend this. I do have yarn. I want to make one in like a navy because I wear this all the time. Like in winter, this gets like far too much use. So I want to make one. See, I'm just bundling it up. I'm like, okay, there it is. You have to fold it. So I do want to make one in navy yarn. I do have yarn. I looked at Ice Yarns at clearance, because you can get yarn for so cheap at clearance, and anything that goes from thick to thin, and as much as you need quite a bit of it. Well, it depends how big you want to make it, but that is my advice to you. Look for cheap yarn that goes from thick to thin and use it to make a Ruana poncho, because it's a very usable garment for camping, for movies, for dinners out, for kids, for cars, like for everything. So that is my Ruana poncho. Already a tutorial. I don't think I have a written pattern, but I probably should make a written pattern because it's a good one. But then I should probably just make another one, so whenever I get around with my navy yarn, that will be a new one. This is my first popcorn poncho. What did I call it? I forget the name of it. I think it's a popcorn. Now I'm not gonna put this on because, let me show you. Can you see the fuzz on there, those hairs? There is alpaca in here like crazy. And that is gonna make me scratch my nose the rest of the time I'm talking to you. It is heavy and gorgeous. I have not sewn in my tails. Did I not finish my border? Oh, I haven't finished my border. Oh, I did finish my border. Doesn't look like it though. Right? But then when I put it on, I get those hairs like on my face And even though like they're not there, they're gone, it feels like I still have hairs on my face. So it'd be really good as like a lap gan. I wouldn't wear it like on my body. Plus, I want to say it's a bit prickly. It's not prickly when you touch it, but my neck says, It's not happy about it. So I think I wore it in a podcast actually a long time ago. You don't gotta go look back. You don't have to compare my videos from back then to now, but it is definitely back there, and I did put it on, I'm almost sure, and I think that's the only time I put it on, because it is really lovely, just not for your neck. It's a thing. So that is my poncho, my popcorn poncho, my original one. So then I redid it in acrylic to wear, and I wore that one quite a bit. This one, I think, oh, yeah. So that is a little learning curve about natural fiber yarns. And this is my very first, like granny square cardi. My first? Yes, my first. See all the colors I use? So this is Kenyan acrylic. I just pulled out every single color from my Yarnscape that was not like a primary color. So like everything that had any sort of neutral anywhere in its history, I pulled out to use for this cardigan. And then after I finished it and started wearing it, so these are just a big granny square like that, and you sew the ends together like that, and you put sleeves up here. That's all you got to do for it. Oh, and you can also see the granny square, the general extra stitches in the corners. That is what I'm not doing with the Hobbit cloak, which I showed you last week. So it's pretty great. I like the color I used for the edge, for the trim, that tan kind of neutrally color. The rest of these are a bit harsh, and if I made about 4 more of them, at least 3 more. I think what I don't like about this is the black. I think it's just too harsh. I think it would have been fine without it. I feel a bit like thinking bee, like when I'm wearing it, like a bumblebee. Just because maybe it's the tan and then the black. I don't know. I like the sweater a lot. It's very practical, but would I just remake it? Yes. Is it fast to make a big granny square? Yes. Also, tip, now if you are making a granny square cardi like this, you do not need to make it square. I have made one square where I adjust my corners to make sure it's a square. You can't move in it. You can't move in it. For these granny square cardis, you don't want a square granny square. You don't want a granny square square. You want a weird granny square, like a flattened starfish, like extra stitches in the corners. That's what you want. So do not go for a square shape if you are making a granny square sweater. Go for, when you fold it in half, you want it to look like this. Oh, and see, no sharp tip needle back then. Have a little tail sticking out. Got to get sharp tip needles also. Let me pop this on for you so you can kind of see. So this is a really cozy one. When you're sitting down, you sit on your sweater, so it's like great if you're like going to a park or something like that, sitting on a bench. This is all great. So I do love the sweater. The fit is great. It's everything I want. I think it's just that black, but then other people are like, I love the black. I don't know. I've worn it a lot. I've made a lot of new ones. So that is my very first granny square sweater. It's cute, right? Oh, I want pink. Yeah, you probably saw the pink one already. Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of these type of sweaters in my stack in the backs. There we go. What was your favorite part of a stack in the back? Let me know in the comments under the video while I put this away. Gotta put my stack back in the back. And yes, that means it's time for stack in the back. I'm gonna grab that stack. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Are you excited? I'm just seeing wearables. I'm like, it's gonna be a wearable. Let's go grab it. Wrong, it's blankets and a bag. Well, that's unexpected, right? So here is my Granny Square Project Tote bag. I love it. So it is 5 granny squares. So 1 for the bottom and 1 for the 4 sides. And then 2 big handles. Now what I would do different about this, I used a bunch of different clearance yarns from Ice Yarn. Let me see if I can just hold up a square for you. There we go. So I used a bunch of different clearance yarns, and I used multiple strands at a time just to mix and match to make the same kind of thickness per color. And I made all of my granny squares kind of match. So I thickened up the yarn. I used double strands, triple strands, whatever I had to do to get the yarn the same thickness. And then I just did, I think I just single crocheted it together on the edges. There is a tutorial and a written pattern if you want to follow along and make your own. There is also a separate tutorial for making these amazing handles. Aren't those like handbag handles? And these are absolutely no stretch, none. So this technique and style for a handle is so great. It's a bit fiddly. I'm not gonna say it's not fiddly. It's a bit fiddly, but so worth it. You just use any cording inside to keep it from stretching out, and then it doesn't matter how much weight you put in your bag, your handles are always going to be the same. So to find these tutorials, these patterns, do a Google search, Secret Yarnery No Stretch Handles. It'll pop up. This is great. I don't think I did it in left-handed because that was back in the day when I was just doing tutorials for my students, and my left-handed students didn't want to make this bag. It was my right-handed students. So if that was the case, I didn't make a left-handed. So this is just a right-handed tutorial and totally a great thing. I'd also like to do these in my living room, like blanket baskets, just kind of around, like at the edge of a sofa. Thought they'd be so cute. This is my very first polka dot blanket. Also my very first finished object that I loved. So I was just relearning to crochet as an adult when I made this gorgeous blanket. Now this is all with Kenyan acrylic, so the colors are the colors I could get. I still like it, but I could improve on it for sure. Including my corners, I didn't put enough stitches in the corners. I mean, almost, but not really. So I've redone, this is the first one. My big polka dot blanket. Let me show it to you so you can compare it to my new version. It's really big. It's like queen size, but with drape. And this is my second one. It is so cute. So I changed the border to the stacking tile border. This blanket has got a lot of use. I put a little picot edging along the top. So let me show you this one, and you can see these colors are also Kenyan acrylic, but I picked the Kenyan acrylic colors that I loved the most. So let me show you this one. Isn't this great? So much better. So that was a short stack in the back. Which blanket did you like better, my very first one or my second one? And what do you think about the bag? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna put away this stack. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Let me know your favorites or which ones you want a tutorial for in the comments under this video, and stay hooked.